Okay, this video is why all the quote videos, because people ask me, why do I make so many quote videos? I make a quote video every day. And the reason is I want to summarize Western civilization. Right now, the Western world is collapsing, and everything that's on the internet can be deleted. So I want to have the best quotes ever made in Western civilization for whatever that might include: science, literature, nutrition, philosophy, history, art. I want to save it all in a printed book, because printed books, you can't delete them. They can be saved somewhere in a library. So I'm trying to write the definitive quote book. So that's why every night I give this. What happened was I had kind of a nerdy personality when I was in college. All I did was wrestle and study. And when I came home from Stanford, my brother would tease me. First you say hello, then you say how you doing, like a Rain Man autistic type of person. And so I figured I'll save all these quotes. It'll help me to be a better conversationalist. I used to save all the jokes. I've got thousands and thousands of jokes, but nowadays everybody's all offended, so you can't really tell jokes anymore. But I saved all these quotes, and I didn't use them for like a couple of decades. And then once I kind of got settled in my career as a surgeon and neuroradiologist and all this stuff, and nutrition doctor, I had them all, and I started writing books. And then I would go back to them often. So I've been doing this for many decades, and I sort of came from a very academic background, always reading books and arguing about them. So I'm the perfect guy to do it. Internet sites can't do it because internet sites have no judgment. Same thing with AI. They don't know the difference between good and bad. They just look for consensus. So they just take all the quotes of a writer, and you need to look typically at least 50 to find a good one. So you're going to be stuck in all the BS. Whereas, I've got the judgment. I got the wide enough education and all these things. I love Western civilization, so I appreciate the beauty of it. I'm a big scholar in, Christian art, music, and all these things. So I have a history and aesthetics. So I really get what's good, what's beautiful, what's true. And I don't care if it comes from other places. Once in a while, other cultures will come up with something good, and I'll take it, Professors at colleges really can't do this. What I've noticed is they sort of suck at almost everything. There's a few super smart ones. Usually they're always in trouble. Sort of iconoclast type guys, Rodney Stark, for example. And they'll write some good books, like good historical books. Like I'm reviewing that book, How the Scots Invented the Modern World. And it's a good paperback book, but they don't have any sense of the aesthetics. They don't have any pictures in their books. And I don't know, those guys are good. Their books are great, but they don't have the multi-variety background that I have. Nobody does. So I'm the perfect guy to do it. Professors, they hate America, so they're not going to say anything nice about America. They hate Europe. They're not going to say anything nice about Europe. But most scientific achievement has come from those places. They hate the Greeks. They hate Christianity. They're a bunch of atheists with no morals, so they've sold out to the highest bidder for whatever they can get money from. So they have no moral compass. And basically, I've talked to some young people, and they say, oh, I'm an atheist. And they think that's like a smart thing to say. What you're saying when you call yourself an atheist is you're saying that you believe that there is no significance to human life, that you yourself are just a talking monkey, that you have no rights other than to obey your ruler. And if your ruler wants to take your kidney out and sell it, he has the right to do that. So what I'm trying to say is, if you read any science at all, the mitochondria, the immune system, the clotting system, the brain, the eye, etc., it's obvious, the origin of life, that there's more to it than this neo-Darwinism nonsense, okay? I majored in neo-Darwinian evolutionary biology, and it really explains microevolution, nothing beyond that. Also, most of these college professors are kind of feminized. They suck, okay? I know lots of students, they all tell me, the professor just reads out of the pages in the book. Okay, here's a student that went to an Ivy League school. She said to me that her writing teacher, was a transsexual who would have discussions in class, and anybody who used the wrong pronouns would get their grade decreased. So everybody was scared to talk. And she said that the professor didn't know anything about writing, and everybody was miserable. And that's the experience people have even at an Ivy League school. Okay, that's how bad the college university system has come. These institutions have been gutted, okay? And also, I went to Stanford, and the first year we had Western civilization. The whole year we read all these things, the Iliad, the Odyssey, you name it, we read it, the Aeneid, etc. Boethius, Consolations of Philosophy. Nowadays, they've gotten rid of all those courses, so the students just don't have this background. I talk to young people sometimes. They don't know anything. So anyways, that's why I'm doing it. I'm going to crank through everything from A to Z, and I'm going to crank through the Bible, and I have a few other things I got to crank through, and I'm hoping, by next I don't know, maybe by next December, hopefully I'll have it ready for Christmas for next year. And I'm going to summarize all the quotes, all the good stuff of Western civilization. What is best about Western civilization? That's why I'm doing it. And I think it's good to know. And so it's the way that a new young person comes along and they very quickly want to know what is the best of the West? What is the best the West can offer? And that's the best way to remember an author or a philosopher, is to remember their quotes. So I'm going to give them an accelerated path towards being culturally educated, having a liberal arts education, which makes you much more intelligent and it makes you much more articulate, so you can speak up for yourself, you can defend yourself, you can argue more effectively, you can reason more effectively. It's just a lot more fun to be an educated person, and all you got to do is read. We talk about how easy it is to read. Have a table in your bathroom, listen to an audiobook in your car, walk on a treadmill and read a book. Right there is 3 books a week. You read 3 books a week, you'll be way ahead of everybody else. Well, anyways, that's why I'm making these quote books, to get it in print so it can be saved forever. And hopefully, after the West collapses, hopefully it'll come back someday. And maybe it won't even collapse. Maybe the decision will be made to save the West. I hope so. Anyways, that's why I'm doing it.